Double Trouble. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
The first full weekend in August, a sleepy town outside of Cleveland turns up, with thousands of guests from all over the world converging upon it, ready to celebrate. But this isn't a music festival or an immersive theater experience gone wrong. It's something, perhaps, even more bizarre. A gathering of thousands of twins, triplets, and more, eager to eat, play games, hook up, and be experimented on. Today on Ghost Town, come with me, won't you? To the living laboratory that is the Twins Days Festival, held in scenic Twinsburg, Ohio. The festival and research hub begins, of course, with a historical set of identical twins who were very into celebrating their own twindom. Way back in 1819, Moses and Aaron Wilcox from Killingsworth, Connecticut, bought about 4,000 acres of land in Northeast Ohio, ready to start a new life. Moses and Aaron Wilcox were lifelong business partners, friends, joint property owners. They married sisters and had the same number of children, along with being, of course, twin siblings. They reportedly looked so identical that only their closest friends could tell them apart. They were also like-minded in wanting to carve out a place for themselves in Ohio. After they bought their land, the Wilcoxes offered to donate 6 acres of it for a town square and a whopping $20 towards a new school, on one condition: that the place drop its old name, Millsville, and become Twinsburg. The government of Millsville was like, okay, let's do this. And the town rebranded into a more developed, bustling, and perhaps more importantly, notoriously twin-centric city. Ironically, or perhaps romantically, the twins contracted the same fatal ailment in the end and died within hours of each other. They are buried in the same grave in Twinsburg's Locust Grove Cemetery. But even though the Wilcox brothers had passed, Twinsville's legacy was sealed, and the town became the hub of twin studies and celebrations to come, more so than the Wilcoxes had ever envisioned. More than a century and a half after the Wilcoxes took over Millsville, in 1976, the town was celebrating the United States bicentennial and decided to throw a party that was, of course, very on brand for them, a celebration of twins. While just 36 pairs of twins showed up at that particular celebration, Twinsburg saw the potential for the event and made it an annual thing, Twins Days Festival. And Twinsville had the right idea. More and more twins showed up every year for the weekend from all over the world, but also more specifically from rural parts of America, where they are likely the only identical twins. They would come to play games, participate in talent shows, feast at an all-day chicken barbecue in the woods, meet one another, and celebrate their lives as twins, whatever that looked like. An unwritten festival rule that might seem bizarre to us singletons, as twins at Twins Days call those of us without a twin, means that identical twins are often identically dressed as well. This applies as much to older boomer men as it does to teenage girls, and of course to babies wheeled around in twin-flavored bassinets. Some attendees dress up, emphasizing their twindom, but also perhaps to let their freak flags fly. 53-year-old Jerry and Steve Armstrong from Michigan celebrated their birthday at Twins Days Festival by dressing themselves as adult-grown babies, highlighting a lifetime of identical brotherhood. Others wore bespoke t-shirts and badges reading, "Look out, there's 2 of me, Double Trouble," or, quote, "I'm the evil twin." And every year seems to also have a theme, allowing attendees to get creative in that direction. In 2024, for example, the theme was Twindy 500, off to the races. That's TWO, not TO. With this theme, twinsday.org, that's the website of the celebration, encouraged prospective attendees to, quote, "fasten their seatbelts, gearheads, and get ready to go full throttle for the 49th annual Twins Days Festival." Twins come to Twins Days Festival to feel belonging, to meet other twins, to share experiences, and just kind of have fun. Quote, "It's fantastic, the camaraderie among these people," said David Hill of New York, who says that he and his twin brother, Sydney, were displayed in, quote, chicken incubators at a freak show on Coney Island after they were born in 1930. Quote, "And the barker in the front of the show was Archibald Leach, who became Cary Grant," added Sydney in another little cultural fact that contributed to the strangeness of the whole scene. Kristen and Kelly Savage, 23-year-old graduates of the University of Denver, were both training to be science teachers. Quote, "It was a little weird being here at first," said Kristen, "because we don't get to see many other twins before this. We've known maybe 3 sets, but they're all girls, and we like to see some guys." Speaking of which, hookups are also prevalent here at Twins Day Festival, as you might imagine, both with the twin commonality and a willingness to socialize during the festival itself, but also the numerous hotel after-parties that happen all around Cleveland. In the piece, The Twinsburg Chronicles by Tony Burrell, Burrell attended the event and asked 29-year-old Tara and Tammy from Akron, Ohio, if they had been hit on by any male pairs. "Of course," said Tammy, quote, "Usually the young twin picks the young twin, and the older twin picks the older twin. We hang out, have a good time," says Tara, quote, "and then we don't see them till the following year." As we've established, twins of all kinds are welcome at Twins Days, meaning fraternal as well as identical, but also triplets and beyond. If you're a multiple and you're willing, you can come, hang out, eat, be drink, marry, and more. More, you might ask? Well, according to the 1997 book Twins, Genes, Environment, and the Mystery of Identity by Lawrence Wright, 1 out of every 80 to 90 live births produces twins, and every person in about 150 is an identical twin. Why is this important? Because twins make fantastic laboratory resources, allowing scientists to determine to what extent a vast range of human traits are genetic or caused by upbringing or environment. That's why Twins Days Festivals is a hotbed for scientists. It's a place for twins not only to be celebrated, but to be studied. More after this break. Beyond the baby-changing area and the indoor craft market at Twins Days in Twinsburg, Ohio, a yellow and white striped tent full of clipboards, sterilized equipment, and bustling lab coats exist. Even with golf outings, lookalike contests, a royal court, and a parade, the event's research tent is one of the most popular attractions. According to a piece about Twins Days Festival for the New York Times, twins and multiples are perfect subjects to study how a person's personality, behavior, and environment interact with genetics. Quote, "We are in a unique position to be able to help," said 49-year-old Laura Sieber, who has attended with her twin Linda every year since the 2 or 3 years old. "Since our genes are 100% identical, it really is nurture versus nature," Laura said. Many of the scientists agree that the willingness of the subjects here is almost as unusual as the event itself, creating this melting pot of happy twins and multiples eager to be scientists' guinea pigs. Quote, "It's really the best research subject population I've ever worked with," said the auditory researcher Dennis Drana. "People are here to enjoy themselves. As a result, we get people in a good mood. Also, twins know they're special, and in many cases, they like additional information on how they're special." Of course, an episode about twins, I would be remiss to not mention that the study of twins has had its own horrific history, conjuring up many images, as I might imagine in your head, of 1940s Nazi experiments, a chilling and disturbing mockery of the scientific method. But here at Twins Days Festival, it feels completely different. Really, a reinvention of the study of multiples, one where everyone is a willing and curious participant. Dennis Drana is from the National Institutes of Health studying twins for a way to best improve our understanding of central auditory processing. To this end, Drana takes willing lookalikes to a trailer outside where they put on headphones and spend about 15 minutes undergoing a hearing test. In return, they receive a free DNA test and a tote bag. Another research station in the tent was helmed by Paul Breslin of the Monell Chemical Senses Center, a nonprofit basic research institute from Philadelphia. Breslin had twins sip mystery liquids out of small cups, testing the twins' ability to discriminate different tastes and smells, and their olfactory sensitivities. Quote, "We're looking at nature versus nurture, comparing identical with non-identical twins," Breslin explains. Taste test volunteers come away with a Monel towel, a little Etch-a-Sketch, or a miniature toolkit. And the study actually showed, years later, that genetics is a higher determining factor for influencing taste buds than personal preference. Interesting, right? And there is more. Brandon Macias from the University of California, San Diego, was at Twins Days signing up female identical twins for a, quote, 30-day bed rest study to test the theory that, by exercising in a kind of artificial gravity, astronauts can avoid the weakening of the muscles, bones, and cardiovascular system that normally accompanies spaceflight. During the study, subjects remained in a 6-degree heads-down tilt to simulate space conditions, with a daily stipend of $100 a day for their trouble. A big enterprise at Twins Days Festival is Burke Pharmaceutical Research, conducting 2 studies, both of which tested the efficacy of their company's products, including a pattern hair loss cream and an anti-wrinkle regimen, which also included a cream and Botox injections. Balding or wrinkled twins could walk away with $1,500, though they would have to use some of it for subsequent follow-up tests. Then there's a research station that seems to fit right into the landscape, mainly because the 2 women manning it are, drumroll please, identical twins themselves. Quote, "Everyone is interested in twins as DNA," says Donna Davis, a 55-year-old anthropologist from the University of South Dakota, who is at the booth with her sister Dorothy, also an anthropologist. Donna and Dorothy aren't in the hard sciences, though. They're into capturing twins' stories. Quote, "This gives twins a voice and says to people who do the twin research, hey, wait a minute, we're not just walking organ banks." Even for anthropologists, Twins Day Festival is a priceless opportunity for collecting data. Quote, "It's a year's worth of data in 2 days," said Donna. Even the FBI got in on the Twins Days Festival fun, using twins to study facial recognition technology, though these days governmental budget cuts are making the research tents a bit less robust. Dr. Danielle Reed, the chief science officer at the Monel Center, had hoped to continue her studies of how people taste salt in search of an alternative, similar to artificial sweeteners, to reduce sodium consumption. But budget cuts made her unable to attend in recent years. Kevin Boyer, a computer science and engineering professor at the University of Notre Dame, said that without the gathering, he would have had to recruit volunteers and then educate them about the process. So Twins Days saves him and other scientists valuable time and twins sourcing. It is an essential tool to many of these scientists' studies. With over 2,500 registered identical twins and multiples making appearances in 2025, Twins Days probably won't disappear anytime soon. But hopefully its scientific contribution will also continue, giving much-needed insight into the world by way of seeing double.